This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. And if that was too loud, ladies and gentlemen, I definitely apologize. But the Knicks, folks, with a very good win today against the Brooklyn Nets, looks like they didn't skip a beat. After they demolished the Minnesota Timberwolves, they come back off of a, 3-4 day break, whatever it was, and lay it down against the Brooklyn Nets, as they were supposed to do, because obviously the Brooklyn Nets aren't a very good basketball team. The worst defense in the NBA, and I don't care about that, to be honest with you. The Knicks did what they were supposed to do. They came out against a bad basketball team and dominated. That's exactly what they were supposed to do. And they looked very, very good doing it, ladies and gentlemen. Very good doing it. I mean, from the beginning of the game, the Knicks were on fire from the beginning of the game. And when you listen to the commentators talk, they talked about the Nets having fast starts, but they couldn't hold the lead and so on and so forth. Didn't happen like that with the New York Knicks tonight. The Knicks dominated from the beginning of the game to the end of the game with great performances or good performances from everybody. Everybody got in on the act tonight. You heard Mike Breen, and you heard Mike Breen say that. And I do want to say, I think Steve Novak is a pretty good commentator. And I apologize for my video going out. We'll get that back up in just a second, I hope. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Back in business. I don't know what happened there, but I'll figure that out. Anyway, sometimes, what can I say? What can I say? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Novak is actually a pretty good commentator. Discount double check. He sits in for Walt Clyde Frazier. And when he sits in for Walt Clyde Frazier, he's actually doing a pretty good job. So shout out to Steve Novak for being a Knicks commentator. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm having technical difficulties. So as I'm fixing these technical difficulties, get this on over here. Not exactly sure what the issue is, but hopefully I can get it taken care of right away so that I don't continue to have these same technical difficulties. If they continue, I may have to pause the show so I can fix it. But I'm back in the building again. I don't know what the deal is, ladies and gentlemen. Not exactly sure. Got to figure that out. Got a brand new camera, so I'm still working out the kinks with that camera. So as I'm working out the kinks, please bear with me. Anyway, the Knicks win 134-98 over the Brooklyn Nets. Good win from the New York Knicks. Nothing that I didn't expect, of course, or that you didn't expect. We all expected the Knicks to get the win today. Right? In the offense, everything looks smooth. As it should, coming off of a 3-4 day break where they had a chance to practice. Right? But everything looks smooth. Everything right now looks the way that we thought it would look, with Mike Brown at the helm. The ball is moving. Eddie Fico said, the ball is fluid. The movement is fluid. I agree, 100%. The ball movement is fluid. They're making extra passes. It's almost like they have the motto, we'll err on the side of caution by making extra passes. And they're making those extra passes. Right? A lot of extra passes. And you know, sometimes there's overpassing. That's okay, though. I think that they are trying to, you know, they'll strike the balance. They'll strike the balance. I mean, they're averaging right now, what, 310 passes per game? Last season was 270, so they're about 40 passes more than they were averaging last season. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And those passes are turning into assists now. You know, those passes are turning into assists. So they're playing as if they want to win basketball games. And I know Sean Richardson is going to be the first one to say, Sim, they play to win. They're playing to win games. And all I can say is, Sean, right now, I agree with you. They're playing to win basketball games. They're playing good, tough, aggressive basketball. Every time down the court. Every time down the court. And it's like, I don't know, they lost 3 games in a row. And it's like they just made a decision that they're not going to play soft. And excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, if my camera keeps going out, working out the kinks there. I apologize for that, but that will get fixed. So just bear with me. As long as you can hear my voice, you know what I'm saying. But it's like they made this decision, a collective decision, that they're not going to get, how do you want to say it? They're not going to be punked out there on the floor. Other teams are not going to pound them out rebound them, be more aggressive than them. And it's worked. You get what I'm saying? Let's take a look at the box score, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks were led in scoring tonight by Karl-Anthony Towns, 28 points, 12 rebounds tonight for Cat. And you heard Alan Hod talk to him after the game, asking him about his aggressive play. You know, and there's a different, I don't know, for me, at least, in my opinion, there's a different look in the eye for Karl-Anthony Towns. He's playing with a different level of aggression than I've ever seen him play with. A higher level of aggression. You understand what I'm saying? I've never seen him play with this level of aggression. You know, a couple of times you heard him scream, holler, and yell about calls. You know, that's going to happen. But for the most part, he's playing with a stone face, like a poker face. Not too much celebrating. He's just playing good, hard-nosed basketball. And you all know, I haven't been the biggest fan of Karl-Anthony Towns, but he's winning me over. That's for sure. The style of play that he's using right now is winning me over as a Karl-Anthony Towns fan. I just like what I'm seeing, and I like the way that he's playing basketball right now. You know, I'm just feeling the way that he's playing basketball right now. And I hope it continues because I do believe that, you know, Karl-Anthony Towns and his level of focus is a big part of this Knicks team winning. His level of focus. And he's really shown a great level of focus over the last 4 or 5 games, in my opinion. 28 points, 12 rebounds for Karl-Anthony Towns tonight. The Knicks, Jalen Brunson, 19 points, 7 assists for Jalen Brunson. He only shot 43% from the field, didn't shoot that great, 37.5% from the three-point line, but everybody else was shooting the ball well. So you didn't really need Brunson to do what Brunson normally does. 19 points for OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby is playing tremendous basketball as well. He shot 54.5% from the field, 66.7% from the three-point line, 75% from the free throw line. 8 rebounds for OG Anunoby. And let me tell you something. That is huge for this Knicks team. For OG Anunoby to be grabbing 8 rebounds a game. I don't know if his average right now is 8 rebounds a game. But for OG to add that to his basketball game, along with the efficiency and the level of aggression that he's playing with, or maybe I should say selfishness. Not that he's playing selfish basketball, but he's playing a little bit more selfish than he normally does. Which is something that we've wanted him to do. Because if he can add his scoring, if he adds his scoring to this team, and you get a third option, like a really, really strong third option, it's really hard. It's going to be hard to stop this team. And right now he's doing that. And I'm not saying anything bad about Bridges with me saying this. But I feel like OG Anunoby, because he can also have a strong inside game, is better as a third option than Bridges, in my opinion. But Bridges tonight had 16 points, 5 assists. He was 6 for 8 from the field, 4 for 5 from the three-point line. And I just seen someone in the chat say that Bridges has been passing the ball a lot. And, maybe Bridges is looking to facilitate a little bit more. Right? Facilitate a little, be that other playmaker out there on the floor. Remember, this team is still learning. They're still figuring out how they play together and what each other needs to do. So they're figuring out their roles on this basketball team. You know what I mean? So they're going to go through an evolution. All the players are going to go through an evolution. The good thing is that they're winning. And I know I was a little bit discouraged earlier in the season, as we all were. I was discouraged because I didn't feel like I seen the level of intensity. But they're playing with it now. And they're playing more comfortable. They're playing more fluid. They're reacting instead of thinking. And I know we played a bad basketball team tonight. But they did what they were supposed to do against that bad basketball team. The bench is showing up. Josh Hart, 11 points, 7 rebounds for Josh Hart. Jordan Clarkson, he's getting comfortable out there on the floor, 11 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals. He shot 62.5% from the field. That's 5 for 8. He was 1 for 3 from the three-point line. Even Yabusele got in on the act, ladies and gentlemen. He had 5 points. He was 1 for 5 from the field. 1 for 4 from the three-point line. He knocked down 2 free throws. But, more games like this, and maybe Yabusele will get more comfortable out there on the floor, because if he's going to play, then we need him to get a little bit more comfortable with what he's doing. When I seen him get up to get in the game, I'm like, oh, boy, here we go. Yabusele's getting in the game. But on a night like tonight, didn't matter much. Didn't matter much. And then you got Landry Shamet knocking down threes when he gets the opportunity to. Everybody has played a role the past few basketball games. And again, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me for my camera. Gonna figure that out. Keeps going out. I don't know if it's a faulty wire or what's going on, but I'll get it together. Promise you that. On nights like this, though, ladies and gentlemen, everybody can get a chance to get out there and get some reps. And that's exactly what the Knicks need now. For the Brooklyn Nets, the other side of the river, you remember there was a point in time when everybody thought, everyone was screaming and hollering and yelling that the Brooklyn Nets were going to take over and all of this stuff. Well, the Nets are the Nets. I ain't even mad at them. Not even mad at him. 25 points for Michael Porter Jr., who at one point, people thought Michael Porter Jr. was going to end up with the Knicks. Thought he would end up in New York. Well, he did end up in New York, but with the other team. And the Nets have a young team. Maybe they have something that's building. Who knows? But 25 points for Michael Porter Jr., 15 points for Drake Powell, 13 points for Zaire Williams, 12 points, 5 rebounds for Nick Claxton. It wasn't much competition. Never, wasn't much competition, but we'll see what the Brooklyn Nets are going to do. But the Knicks disposed of them. They handled their business. They did what they were supposed to do. Kev Berg said, nah, Sam, I never said that. Even with KD and Kyrie, I never thought they would be either. But, some people thought that they, you heard the announcers and all of that kind of stuff say that the Brooklyn Nets were going to take over the city and so on and so forth. Obviously, it never happened. Even with KD, even with Kyrie and James Harden, it just never happened. And it never will happen. And I think the new regime realizes that. And if they realize that, just play their role, they'll be okay. You know what I mean? Kev said the Nets are pretty bad. They are. They're pretty bad. They might be the worst team in the league this year. You know what I mean? They might be. Not a lot of people that you recognize out there on the floor. What a fall for those guys. What a fall. But on the opposite side of the river, we got a lot of things going on with a lot of talent. I do want to spend some time talking about OG Anunoby, some more time talking about OG Anunoby, because I want to know, do you think this is his breakout season? All right, is this time for OG to become an all-star level player? He's been... And excuse, I know you see things on my screen. I'm trying to work on something, so excuse me. I'm trying to see if I can stop this thing from going off. But is OG Anunoby an all-star level player? Or will he be an all-star level player this season? All right, because he's been playing at an all-star level so far this season. Right? Marcus DeFaro, you said, it should be the chips are in place for OG. Explain that to me. Call in, Marcus, if you can. 516-362-5212. All right? You're saying the chips are in place for OG. Why are those chips in place? What makes those chips in place for OG? Is it the system? Is it the fact that he's been here for, this will be his, last year was his first full year with the Knicks. And now we're on to this year will be his second full year with the Knicks. Right? So does that make him, is that the reason why you say that he's ready to be an all-star? I don't know if he'll be an all-star this year. There's a lot of people in that position. Obviously, the way that the all-star, the way it's set up, you got a lot of forwards and so on and so forth. But tell me, why do you think it is he's ready to take that next step? And if he takes that next step, Okay, I see here. OG will be an all-star if the Knicks are top 2 seed in the NBA. Or is it vice versa? Will the Knicks be a top 2 seed in the NBA if OG is an all-star? You dig what I'm saying? You know, it's hard to say which one it'll be. Hard to say which one it'll be. You know, I think I think if OG is playing at an all-star level, not necessarily make the all-star team, but if he's playing at an all-star level, then the Knicks will be a top 2 seed. I think it's going to go in that order, right? If OG's playing at an all-star level, that the Knicks will be a top 2 seed. You know, and because I'm not sure Mikal Bridges can be the guy. We all thought Mikal Bridges was the guy to take that spot. We all thought Mikal Bridges was, when he came here, was, you know, he was the third guy. I don't think he's going to be the third guy on this team ever. I don't think he has the mindset to be the third guy. I don't think that he's missing, to me, he's missing the physicality to his game to be the third guy. Right? Where OG has that physicality. OG has the ability to battle his way to the basket if necessary. So, yeah, I do think that Bridges, that OG will be, you know, he's the third guy. And if he makes an all-star team or plays at an all-star level all season long, the Knicks will be a top 2 seed. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's nothing against Bridges because, you know, do I think the Knicks will ever have 4 people on the all-star team? I don't know. Hard to say if the Knicks will have 4 people on the all-star team. It's possible, I guess. But I do believe that they can have at least 4, what do you want to call them, all-star level players on the team. And 3 of them make the all-star team. You know, I think that Bridges, what do I want to say? You know, Bridges is going to be a role player. Kind of, sort of, role player. A high-level role player, should I say, on this basketball team. But to be honest with you, I don't think any of the Knicks care. I don't think they care if they're role players. I don't think they care if they are, well, besides maybe Cat and Jalen Brunson, because, you know, they're all NBA guys. But I don't think either one of those 2 guys really care if they're considered role players or if they're considered stars. And I do want to give a little shout out to Mike Brown, because I do think that Mike Brown has developed the kind of, what do you want to say, mentality with this basketball team that they don't care who's what. They just want to win. They just want to win. So whichever way it goes down, they're going to be successful. And I know you guys can see me in the background doing a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen, trying to make sure I get this thing working right. So I apologize for that. And I know you're saying, Sam, you don't have to apologize, but, you know, I can't help it because I always want my video and stuff to be right. But this happens. Unfortunately, it happens when you're live. You know what I mean? And I don't have my man Tony here today to things alive and messing up to kind of take over for me. So I'm doing it as I'm live. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, we're talking about OG Anunoby, and we're talking about Mikal Bridges, and we are trying to figure out who is going to be the guy. Now, give me 1 second. In other talks, let's talk about the guys coming off the bench, because Jordan Clarkson is supposed to be our sixth man, and he's been playing like a sixth man, right? He's been scoring almost at will, right? He's had the ability to create for himself and his teammates, right? And recently, he's been hot. He's been knocking down shots. Took him a little bit of time to get up to speed, should I say. But now, Jordan Clarkson is, I don't know, up to speed, more comfortable. He's shooting the ball when he feels like shooting the ball. There was a point in time where I thought maybe he was afraid to shoot the ball. I thought he was maybe afraid that, he didn't want to get in the way of his teammates. He didn't want to make it seem like, because he did say in the beginning of the season, people know I'm going to shoot it, right? The ball, I'm going to let it fly. And I think at some point he probably was like, maybe that was the wrong thing for me to say, right? And so I think he started trying to play a little more conservative. So not really playing his basketball game, but he's been playing his basketball game now, right? He's been playing his style of basketball. He's been shooting it quick without thinking, not worried about making mistakes, right? And that's what we need from Jordan Clarkson, because if he's thinking, he's not playing natural. He's not playing smooth. I think he was worried about playing within the system. But now I think he's just more comfortable with the system. And so he can play naturally without thinking. So I got to give a lot of kudos to Mike Brown, for curating the mindset of this basketball team, helping them to figure out how they should play, where they should play. Constantly coaching. You see him on the sidelines, always coaching this basketball team, right? No matter how many mistakes or what mistakes, you see him talking to them. All right, you should be here, you should be there, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. So kudos to Mike Brown for what we're seeing right now. Got a lot of season to go. A lot of season to go. East Blue Drew said everyone's numbers are way up. I don't know if they're way up. I think they're on par. I think what we're seeing is that, well, they're playing less minutes, a few less minutes, but then with a quicker style of play, with more efficient shooting, they can keep their numbers where the numbers are supposed to be, or the numbers that they're used to having. I don't want to say where they're supposed to be. The numbers that they're used to having, right? They can keep those numbers. And part of the way that they're shooting efficiently is because they're getting easier, cleaner shots. right? The ball is moving. They're getting cleaner shots. Right? 31 assists today for the Knicks. 31 assists on 88 shots. Let me go back to the box score for a second. 31 assists on 88 shots. Now, we've been used to this particular team, taking 100 shots, 102 shots, 103 shots, 88 shots today for the New York Knicks. But they shot so efficiently, 54.5% from the field, 45.9% from the three-point line. And because of that, everyone can get their numbers. But they're playing as a team. It doesn't look like they're playing for numbers. They're playing as a team. They have a goal in mind. That goal is to win a championship, and they know in order to get there, they've got to play together as a basketball team. You know what I mean? So I love what I'm seeing. Albert Grant said cleaner shots, more rest. Cleaner shots also means easier shots, which is also better on the body, right? So, in that aspect, I know I was a Thibodeau supporter, but in that aspect, this aspect right now, with what we're seeing with this basketball team and the way that they're playing, the way that their bodies aren't so far is not the same grind that they've had in the past. I got to give kudos to Mike Brown for that. I'm going to be honest with you. I got to give kudos to Mike. So Sean Richardson, I know you would be happy to hear that. And I'm not afraid to admit that. You would be very happy to hear that. You know what I mean? But yes, I got to give it up to Mike Brown for the job that he's doing so far with the Knicks. Now, there's going to come a time when teams are going to, Teams are going to strategize against Mike Brown, against the system. They're going to strategize against all of the little schemes that the Knicks have. And we'll get the chance to see how Mike Brown reacts to those new strategies. And he's been here before. So, not here in New York, but he's been at this point in the season before. He's coached teams. So when it comes to him reacting to someone's new strategy, he'll figure that out. You know what I mean? He'll figure that out. Kev said, Sim, you've come a long way. You was afraid we regressed after firing Tibbs. I won't lie. I was a little bit nervous that we would regress. I was. We still got a ways to go, but I was definitely nervous. When those 3 games where it felt like the Knicks played without fire, somebody in the chat said Tom Thibodeau was the fire. Tom Thibodeau was the guy, the one that brought the energy, not the energy, but the one that brought the intensity and all of that. And at the time, I said, I don't know, maybe. But then when I thought about it, I got a little nervous, like, well, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. But now, this team is proving that it's not true. That it's all within them. You know what I mean? That it's all within them. Marcus Farrell said, Sean ain't going to let that. No, he's not going to let me live that down. You already know that. But that's okay. That's cool. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? All I care about is the Knicks winning. Kev said, I know, and I told you it's early. Time will tell. But we're trending upwards. We are trending upwards. The thing that I'm just happy about is that we're playing with the type of intensity that we need to play with, that championship teams play with. We are approaching the game in that way. You understand what I'm saying? Leroy Green said, I think it was mentioned the players went to Mike Brown and discussed the rotations. And it seems for now, they've ironed out some of those, some nice things. Yeah, they discussed the rotations, not just the rotations, but, guys getting jerked in and out. He had to shorten the rotation. He had to shorten the rotation so that guys can get comfortable out there. And, obviously it's worked. It's worked. Now, on a night like tonight, a lot of guys played because there was a blowout. But on a regular night, it's going to be 9 to 10, 9.5 guys. Let's say that, 9.5 guys. Albert said the coach and the players have settled into the rotation and the system. I think they're on the way. I'll say that. I think they're on the way. I don't want to say that they've fully settled in, right? Because there's still a lot of learning to be done with this basketball team, but they're definitely on the way to settling in. Like I said, once other teams begin to strategize, there's a lot more things on tape and on film. Then we'll start to see teams come up with schemes against the Knicks. Some mistakes will start to happen, and then we'll see how they begin to settle in. You know what I mean? Then we'll see how, then we'll see them settling in. Now, let me give a shout out to Jason Benjamin. I had the super chat up, and I forgot to read it. He said, to think we got OG for RJ and IQ. He is just a winning basketball player. He's severely underrated in the league. He's not flashy, but he gets the job done. 100%. He gets the job done. He's not flashy. He doesn't, chat a lot, talk a lot, do those type of things, but he gets the job done. You know what I'm saying? He gets the job done. He just goes out and plays. He's a hard-nosed player. He's a hard-nosed player. And, with the numbers that he's given us, 19 points, 8 rebounds, he's averaging 18 points a game right now. I can see him averaging 20 if things continue to trend the way that they're trending. He fully replaces Julius Randle if that happens. Because if Julius Randle played on this team with Brunson and with Cat, he'd be averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds. Right? In my opinion, that's what he would probably be averaging. Well, OG is giving you that. Will probably be giving you that. He may not be able to facilitate the way or get the number of assists that Randle did, but he's a much better defender than Randle. He's going to make less turnovers than Randle, right? And he can guard more positions than Randle. So that makes him more valuable to this particular basketball team. So there's not much you can, what can you say? What can you say? This is a complete basketball team. We're pretty complete. With the addition of Jordan Clarkson, and then Mitch coming back, which pushes Josh Hart to the bench, we have a much better bench than we did last year, obviously. Right, so we have a strong bench. We have 3-point shooting. Is it prolific? I mean, right, it's been prolific the last 4 games. Is it the type of prolific shooting like the Warriors? I don't know. We'll see. Originally, I didn't think so. But maybe it is. But we got shooting. We got guys that can go to the basket. We can rebound the basketball, obviously. We have at least one creator with Jalen Brunson. And we'll see if we get some more creators out there. Develop. Maybe Mikal Bridges will develop a little bit more as a creator. I don't know. But right now I feel like we have, at least the way we've been playing over the past 4 games, we've been playing a complete game. There's still some holes in the defense, though. Somehow, some way, guys are able to get to the basket untouched. I'm not a fan of that. My guy Ron from Still Knicks Fans says, Sim, should the Knicks try to feature Yabusele the next time he gets some good minutes? I think he needs more shots to break the shooting slump. I don't know, bro. I'm not impressed with Yabusele. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. Should Yabusele be featured? I don't know. I mean, I guess Mike Brown could possibly do something to try to help him get in rhythm. I think that maybe Mike Brown just wants to focus on everyone learning the fundamentals of his system before he tries to focus on one person. That's what I'm thinking. And is Yabusele a guy that you really try to feature? Is he a guy that you take time to say? I mean, I didn't think he was a featured guy anyway when he got here. To me, he was just a guy that you got what you got. I think the biggest thing with Yabusele is being out of shape, not being out of shape, looking like he's going to struggle in this system. When he's out there, he reminds me of a kid running around that doesn't know what to do or where to go. You know what I mean? He doesn't look calm. He doesn't look like he's playing calm. He looks like he's pressing. And maybe that's the issue. Maybe he's pressing. You know what I mean? Maybe he is, I don't know. He's playing on probably the best team that he's ever played for in his life. So maybe there's a little bit of pressure there for him. I don't know. Beats said Yabusele is the one Nick that is still thinking the game. He's definitely still thinking out there. Definitely still thinking. Walter White said Yabusele has to adjust to the offense. Last year, he played a lot of pick and roll with Maxey and was very effective. And they obviously played at a slower pace and all of that. So he's getting used to a whole new system. Building Blocks said, come on, Sim, he's not a good fit for this team. Let's deal him as soon as we can. He's not a good fit for this team. I agree with you, Building Blocks. He's not a good fit. I don't think he's a good fit for this basketball team. Yeah, I can understand why they figured he would be a good fit because of the three-point shooting that he was supposed to have, but it's not coming to fruition. Still Knicks fans, Ron said, I hear you, bro. I just want them to give him one real shot before they move on because he looks stressed out there. He looks very stressed. Very stressed out there, and I don't know. He doesn't look like he belongs. He just doesn't know. He just doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, where he's going, or understands how he fits with this basketball team. Building Blocks again said, Yabusele is Jerome James Part 2, getting signed off one decent year. Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys get signed off for one decent year. You know what I mean? He got his money. Well, I don't know how much money. I don't remember how much money he got. I mean, it's not like he got a huge contract, so we don't have that to worry about. And honestly, I'm not sure right now if he's even tradable. What are you getting for him? A second-round draft pick, maybe? Let's see what happens. There's time for him to get comfortable. I don't see it and don't think he's ever going to truly get comfortable. But there is time for him to get comfortable. So, I'm going to start taking it easy on him. I'm not going to bug out as much as I've been because I haven't been happy with him. I'm going to take it easy on him. Take it easy. The Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, shot 54.5% from the field. They shot 45.9% from the three-point line. They've been shooting such a high level from the three-point line over the past 4 games. If they continue to shoot this way from the three-point line, it's a tough team to beat, man. It's a tough team to beat. I mean, this team can already beat you in so many different ways. So many different ways. And if you really add efficient three-point shooting as well as them shooting the three about 40 times per game, plus they can go inside, plus they can run the fast break. Yeah. That's pretty complete offense. 14 turnovers for the Knicks. They shot 80% from the free throw line. 58 points in the paint to the Brooklyn's 36. 25 second chance points to Brooklyn's 11. 18 fast break points to Brooklyn's 4. In the third quarter, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks just went crazy. They dominated the third quarter. They just dominated the game. I don't know, what was it, 102, 104, something like that points at the end of the third quarter, maybe more. I forgot exactly. They dominated the third quarter. Didn't give Brooklyn a chance. You know what I mean? That was, if we can see the Knicks dominate third quarters like that for the rest of the season, we're always going to be, we're always going to be in the game anyway. We're always going to have a chance to win. But last season, we've seen so many games where the Knicks had a lead at halftime, or the game was close at halftime, or tied at halftime. And then the third quarter would come, and we'd lay an egg. Third quarters like today against Minnesota, right? It's what we need. And I'm pretty sure that's something Mike Brown, coming into the season, focused on with this team, spoke about with this team. He watched the games. He's seen the playoffs. And he let them know, third quarters. We need to win third quarters. It's too many times last season we lost the game in the third quarter. Jason Benjamin, thank you for the super chat. He said, not giving up on Yabu yet. He needs to just calm down and make his shots. Knicks fans have their guy to beat up. Yeah, every year we have one, and this year I'm beating up on one. I know. Last year was McCall. Before that was Randall. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm beating up on him. That's why I said I'm going to chill. Because, I know I've been tough on the guy, but every time I see him come in the game, I'm like, oh, here we go. The good thing is that we don't really rely on Yabusele. We relied on McCall Bridges. So, the noise was going to be a little bit louder for McCall because we relied a lot on McCall Bridges. You know what I mean? We don't rely as much on Yabusele, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Key plays and decisions, ladies and gentlemen. For me, the key plays and decisions are just the practice time that the Knicks had. Right? The practice time that they had, the Knicks had practice time to tighten things up. And that practice time allowed them to be as sharp as they were coming into this basketball game. The Knicks were sharp. Very sharp. You know what I mean? The Knicks had, and excuse my camera again, I'm working on it. The Knicks had just time. They came off the Minnesota game, where with the Minnesota game, they were able to dominate. And then they stepped into a break. Off of the break, they're able to look at, well, okay, well, what did we do well in Minnesota? But also, what did we not do well all season long? Right? Where did we not do well all season long? And then because of that, of course, they were able to tighten their game. They were able to figure out the best ways for them to play. Figure out their defensive rotations. The defense looked better today. Still not the greatest, but it looked better today. Right? Still guys running down the lane on occasion. Getting open layups, especially, more in the first half, I would say, than in the second half. And excuse me as I take time to switch out my camera as I work on, a little bit of an issue over here. So there are definitely things the Knicks still need to work on. And they'll continue to work on it. And they'll continue to get better. Especially defensively. Defense is going to be the key, in my opinion, for this basketball team. We all know that. Right? Defense is going to be, and I got a different camera going, guys. So, it is what it is. For right now. We'll rock with this for right now. Defense is going to be the key. Defense is going to be, we know the Knicks can score the basketball. Right? They just got, no matter what kind of offense you play, they're going to be able to score. Can they score efficiently? Can they score to the point where everyone can rest? These are things that we have to, that we're seeing, and we're hoping that they're going to continue. But the defense is going to be the key. Jason Benjamin, thank you again for the super chat. He said, we are ranked 12th in defense so far. Impressed. 12th is good. 12th is good. I think as we go on in the season, as we figure out, as the offense gets smoother, and there's not so many things you got to do with the offense, Mike Brown will start to focus in on the defense and figure out how to utilize everyone's skill set within the defense, right? Figure out how to use different schemes. Traps. We haven't seen much of that. Zones. We haven't seen much of that. We've basically seen man-to-man. So as time goes on, those things will come into fruition, and our defense will get better, in my opinion. So that's going to take time. It's going to take time for us to see the full potential of this basketball team. But right now, with what we're seeing, we had some early season woes, and we woke up from that. And now we're playing good, hard-nosed basketball, shooting the ball efficiently, moving the ball, sharing the ball, playing as one unit. When we string it together on the defensive side, man, this team is going to be tough to beat. Tough to beat. Kevin said man-to-man and a lot of switching. Yeah. And when we start to work in like some real strategy defensively, I'm trusting that Mike Brown is going to have understand how to use his players defensively. Which guys can trap, which guys can play in a zone, You know what I mean? He'll figure out who to use where defensively. You know, he's still learning this basketball team. You know what I mean? And when he figures out everybody's skill set and how to use, and he's got a good, strong coaching staff that understands how to utilize players. When they all figure this out, whew, the potential is unlimited. So I'm looking forward to see, you know, what's happening and how they're going to grow. Jay Williams said Mike Brown seems to be learning fast. Yeah, you know, this is probably like Mike Brown's, you know, how do I want to say it? How do I want to say it? You know, he's been with a lot of teams. You know, he's coached a team to the championship, didn't win it. He's been on a championship level teams as an assistant coach. You know, this might be where he puts it all together. You understand what I'm saying? Where he really puts it all together and is able to take a team, use his lessons, and win a championship. That's what we're hoping, that he can put it all together. Great win tonight for the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. Great win. Now, player of the game for me, I don't even know. I'm gonna go with Cat tonight. You know, just because he had the most stats, 28 points, 12 rebounds. You know, listen, I didn't even talk about Mitchell Robinson. I'm gonna talk about Mitchell Robinson tomorrow. You know, we'll do a Losers Lounge tomorrow, but I'm also gonna talk about Mitch. Because Mitchell Robinson's been playing great basketball for the Knicks as well. You know, hopefully he's able to stay healthy, right? Mitchell Robinson tonight, only 16 minutes. And maybe this is where you have to maximize Mitch to keep him healthy, around 16 to 20 minutes. 8 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks for Mitchell Robinson tonight. You know, maybe this is where you have to, I don't know, maybe this is where you got to do it. Around, you know, those minutes, those type of minutes. But yeah, you know, a lot of good things happening with the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to keep growing, keep figuring it out. And who knows? What are we right now? 6-3, 7-3? 9 games into the season, I think we're 6-3. All right, we have a favorable schedule coming up. Still, you know, a few more home games before we go back out on the road. We play Miami in a home and away series with our first game, you know, when we finally hit that first game back out there on the road. The Knicks are taking advantage of home court right now. They're taking advantage of this home court, this home stance that they have. And they've, so far, have shown dominance at home. Undefeated at home right now, the New York Knicks are. And they've shown dominance. Making the Garden what it's supposed to be. A place that other teams are afraid to come into. You've got to keep that up. Got to keep it up. You know, dominate at home. Make the Garden one of those places. Then learn how to dominate on the road. Because so far this season, we haven't been a good road team. And I'm sure that's something that they're talking about in the locker room, that the coaches are talking about. Obviously, you got to win You got to win the games that's in front of you. You got to focus on the games that's in front of you. But when it's time to go on the road, you got to take care of business. Next goal for the Knicks right there. Right? Start winning basketball games on the road. All of our losses have been on the road. Start winning games on the road. There's no doubt in my mind that this team will. You know, And hopefully, maybe this team, last year's team was comfortable on the road and seemed more comfortable on the road than at home. So far, this team seems more comfortable at home than on the road, which is how it's supposed to be. So we got to finish out this home stance and then go win some basketball games on the road. Right? Next goal. That's the next goal for this team. Well, they've got to finish doing what they're doing, what they've been doing, but then go out and win on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to head up out of here. All right, so I can get this camera situation right. I'm glad it wasn't the sound, so you could still hear me at least, and I appreciate you all for sticking with me, even throughout that situation. But I'll be back tomorrow with the camera situation fixed. All right. And I want to talk about Mitch tomorrow. We're going to do a Losers Lounge, but I want to talk about Mitch tomorrow. I want to talk with Tony about OG. I want to take some calls about OG and Anunoby. Right? And I want to start to get into some weeds with what Mike Brown is doing with this basketball team. I didn't get a chance to do much of that last season. I want to get back to it this season, so I want to really get into the weeds and breaking down Mike Brown and his system on the coach's corner, ladies and gentlemen. So, look forward to it. Anyway, I'm up out of here for the night. All right. I appreciate your time and your patience. But I'll catch you tomorrow, folks. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.